Hi everyone, how's it going? Let's check my hair before we start. Okay. Hi, how is it going everyone? Um, I just thought I'd do due diligence given how shaky I've been over the last couple of days. As it turns out, I was right originally. My period started yesterday, I think. And usually when my period starts, that's when everything goes back to normal. So I have like 2 to 3 days when I'm especially manic and very, very emotional and all the repressed emotions from the past comes out. Um, I usually use that as an opportunity to cleanse my mortal coil, but yeah, it was particularly bad for the last 3 days. But it's always like that just before I start bleeding. And then as soon as I start bleeding, everything returns to normal. And I'm normal Fabienne again, and I'm not weepy and angry and all the rest of it, and my blood isn't up. So yeah, I've started, and I know it's a lot of information, but you have to remember, the reproductive organs are being badly affected by radiation poisoning, and then on top of that, the EMFs, DEWs, and acoustic weaponry as well. So this is why I always talk about my periods, and I talk about them a lot on my channel. So that's why I'm always talking about them, is the fact that, in the days leading up to my period, in the very last days leading up to my period, there's always some emotionality, there's always weeping, there's always crying, there's always like in the most incredible rage. And, yeah, all of that stuff, right? They call it premenstrual dysmorphic disorder, but quite frankly, I'm sorry. I've got to get rid of this. How do I remove this? Sorry, I'm looking at a chat right now and I'm trying to get it off my page. You can't see it, but it's such a pain in the ass. I hate these things. This is why I have the do not disturb sign on when I do my lives. Okay, let me just figure out how to get rid of this. Bitch, go away. Like, there's something on my screen again. You can't see it. There we go. That's done. So it's always around my period when I have these really horrible, horrible emotions coming out. But again, I see my period, or that time around my period, as an opportunity for me to get out some feelings that I've been repressing, and to get some feelings out that I've been repressing, and to, again, to just sort of shed a lot of internal issues that I'd been carrying. I looked back at the video yesterday. I looked back at the video that I made the day before. And prior to me going out and getting a snack and everything, I was really ashamed that I'd let my anger get that far. I can't lie to you. Yesterday when I made a video, I was putting up a front like I wasn't ashamed, like I didn't feel guilty for all the things that I was saying. But then when I look back at my actual video, it's literally talking about people who've been firing electronic weapons on everybody for the most part. Now, the reason why these people here have been thinking that I was talking about them is because whilst they were talking, they could have been mocking me, they could have not been mocking me. It wasn't absolutely clear, but I just said, I don't want to, like, I was constantly crying and saying, I don't want to be alive anymore. I don't want to share a planet with these people, which is really harsh, but I was just saying, oh, please just take me away. Like, again, when the days coming up to my period is always like this, especially in winter. It just gets really, really emotional, and you know. So I feel like that's the reason why they think it's them. But I look back at the video and I'm like, no, I'm literally talking about gang stalking. I'm talking about the perps that get involved. I'm talking about, and especially the people who perform electronic torture. I wasn't really discussing them because it's like, they're annoying, sure, but they're not like, I've called them evil in the past, but that's because of their relentlessness. Being relentless doesn't necessarily make you evil. And if we can be honest for a second, if I can be honest, right? I think that the mum's a perp, and I think she's been teaching her kids to perp, but every single perp has a different response. Not all perps are the same. There are some perps who are just like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. And it just felt like for quite a while, you know, there are always going to be times where the mum tries really, really hard not to fuck with anybody, and she just does her best not to do it. The problem is that the problem that they will always have is that they think that just because they're okay for one day, that suddenly it eradicates everything that they've done for the past year. Or they think that doing something right for one day or for a few days, it makes up for the entire time that they've been relentless in their harassment. That is the real problem. The problem is not that they try to make things right. Quite honestly, I wish more people would have this attitude of trying to make things right or trying to be good people. It's just that you can't be okay for one day and then expect that the person that you've been harassing for a full year is suddenly going to turn around and be like, oh, well, you know, they did it for one day. Maybe I shouldn't be angry at them anymore. That's not how it works. Anyone with emotional maturity knows that's not how that shit works at all. But again, I can't say in my heart of hearts that they haven't been trying, especially the mom and especially the boy. Those two are the type of people that want to be good people, want to do their best, but their emotions get in their way and they say and do dumb shit. I know because I'm like that. I have borderline personality disorder. Okay? And there's always an instinct within me that wants to do the right thing and wants to do wants to do what's right for other people, but it's my goddamn emotions. When I see red, that is the only color I see in front of me. When I see green, that's the only color I see in front of me. That's how your emotions are when you have BPD. Even when your conscious mind is working overtime and it's literally telling you, you know what, you can't do this, you can't think like this, you can't behave like this, your emotions are still taking over. And it's like, nah, fuck all that. That's what it's like. And that's especially what it's like when you go through stress. Because when you go through stress, I don't know if anybody understands this or really realizes this, but when you go through stress, your cognitive ability is impaired. This is why when you're in danger of having a fight, or when your fight or flight is peak, you're supposed to go away for about 20 minutes. This is during an argument, or this is during anything that's this is during anything that is basically a non-essential fight or a non-essential argument. You're meant to go away from each other for about 20 minutes, cool off, all right, and then come back and discuss the issue when you're calmer. If I'm being harassed 24/7, I don't get the opportunity to step away from 20 minutes and come back. That impairs my cognitive ability when it comes to dealing with conflicts and resolutions effectively. Don't get it twisted. I still have my cognitive mind. I'm still responsible for my actions in some way or another. But when you're under heightened stress like that, your cognitive ability is impaired. It's the same thing with them. When they're under stress, like any normal human being, your cognitive thinking is impaired. When you're under stress, you can't think straight. And especially when you're at the height of stress. And that's the problem that they constantly have. First of all, it doesn't take much to break the camel's back with them. It really doesn't. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that like any normal human being, when you get stressed out, you're not thinking right. And you say and do dumb shit that makes it worse. That happens with every single human being. Every single human being. Like being under stress, unless you've honed yourself to be disciplined emotionally and physically in situations like that, you're gonna do dumb shit. Nobody here is disciplined. Nobody in this building is fucking disciplined like that. So of course we're gonna say, I'd say the things that I said a couple of days ago, even though quite frankly, there was nothing irrational about what I said. Because at the end of the day, if you're using directed energy weaponry and you're experimenting on people to the point where people are dying, if you've got counterintelligence engaging in neighborhood harassment to the point where people are dying, that's you declaring war on those people. And when people get crazy, you're supposed to get crazy back. But the thing is, a lot of TIs are just not built like that. We're just not built like that. If we were, I wouldn't be on this live talking the shit that I'm talking right now. We're just not built for that. We're not built like that. We're not built like that. We're not built to kill and to torture with like, again, I can be a bitch. I'm not saying I can't. I'm not saying I can't. But I'm just not, there are certain things I'm just not built for. And that was the point, that was the problem that I was having a couple of days ago. I know that it's wrong. What they're doing to us is wrong. And let's be real. If I was to retaliate, go out and find my electronic torturers and do to them what they've been doing to me, to their deaths and to their torture, I'd know who I was doing it to, but it would still be wrong. It would still be wrong. It doesn't matter that, and when you harm another person, it doesn't matter whether they deserve it or not. That comes with karmic consequences. It comes with karmic consequences. It's still wrong. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It's still wrong. So, of course, a lot of targeted individuals, they might think about it. They might talk about it. They might feel that rage. But when push comes to shove, they ain't going to do it. They're just not going to. But at the same time, like I said, in order to protect yourself, especially in the short term, you have to think to yourself, karma doesn't matter, or it does matter, but you have to prepare for your karma rather than simply just lay back and accept it. And that's exactly what the people torturing us and the people killing us do. They know there are consequences for what they do to us. The reason why they keep getting away with it is because they're aware of the consequences. That's A. And B, good and evil is like a funny thing, because when you are good, you have to give your life to good. Do you understand? You have to sacrifice yourself for it. I'm neither good nor evil, so I dedicate myself like primarily to the middle ground, always on the middle ground. So when you're good, when you're a good person, it's not enough just to be good. You have to sacrifice everything about yourself, your body, your mind, everything, to the purpose of good. It's a self-sacrificial act. It brings its own rewards, yes, but it's a self-sacrificial act. It requires you giving your whole self over to that thing. That's sacrifice. So sacrifice means that it doesn't matter what happens to you or what you do, you stay on the path of light. You stay on that path. That's sacrifice. With the evil side, people don't understand this, but people think that evil is about selfishness. You cannot be that evil and that powerful unless you have dedicated yourself wholly and entirely to evil. There's a selflessness to the dedication of evil that people in power have. That's why they keep getting away with it. It's not because God is blessing them. It's not because Spirit is blessing them. It's because they're so dedicated to evil in and of itself for its own sake. They're sacrificing themselves to something greater than them. It's just that in this case, the greater thing than them is evil. but it's self-sacrifice. That's why they keep getting away with the shit. That's why they keep getting away with doing this to us. It's not because, again, it's not because they're blessed. It's not because they, they do anything out of it. It's just because they dedicate themselves to an evil greater than themselves. That's why they keep getting away with it. That's why they keep getting away with it. In many esoteric circles in particular, there's usually a fight between good and evil because extremes are more powerful than the middle ground usually. Sorry, extremes are more powerful than the middle ground usually. I had to repeat that because of the vibrations. Extremes are more powerful than the middle ground. The people doing this to us, there are varying degrees, but the most evil people are the ones most likely to get away with it because they've dedicated themselves to evil greater than themselves. Just like those who are good, they're more likely to be blessed in spite of everything that happens to them because they've dedicated themselves to a good higher than themselves or bigger than themselves. People don't understand the power of sacrifice for good and death for evil. People don't understand the power of that. But you can't keep getting away with shit and you don't sacrifice yourself to anything, because spirit needs something that it can use in order to do what it needs to do for you. So that's why they keep getting away with harming us. That's why they keep getting away with it. That's why we're like, why do they keep getting away with this? It's because they've given themselves to evil bigger than them. And they will continue to do so. They'll continue to do so. It's a horrible reality. But we're up against not just secret alchemical fraternities and sororities. We're higher up anyway. The fucking corruption is always higher up regardless of what the religion is. It's not just that we're dealing with, we're also dealing with multi-billion-dollar defense systems and security systems that are further funded by our governments. We are up against a huge machine dedicated to a greater evil than even the evil that's targeting us. A lot of people call it the devil. I don't call it the devil. I just call it evil. Because at the end of the day, when people are calling the astral souls or astral entities or disembodied souls, they don't know what they're calling. They're just giving it a name just because. You know what I mean? So that's why they keep getting away with doing this to us. I don't know if I'm making much sense because brain is, I wouldn't be surprised if all of that is fucking gone the amount of times that the EWs have been fired on it. But yeah, it's a horrible situation to be in. As for me, I really shouldn't, but I dedicate myself to the truth. That's what I give my life to. That's what I've given my soul to. That's what I've sacrificed everything for. Just the ability to live authentically. That's what I've given up everything for. I didn't even realize I was doing it. Good or evil, I have to be real. I didn't think I was going to be talking about all that today, but boy, yes. So for those who are wondering about my mother, she's doing well. I spoke to her yesterday. I saw her yesterday. She didn't look too bad. She didn't look too bad. I have to admit, she didn't look too bad. She seemed very tired though, because she wasn't talking much. So I have seen her. Progress has been made. My siblings are working fucking overtime to make sure that she's safe and comfortable. And I've been, you know, making some phone calls while I'm here in Brighton because I haven't been able to go down and see her. People have offered me money to go down and see her actually, but you know, I just didn't want to, because I didn't want to go and see her while I was like this. So, and then on top of that, I don't know, my period, like I'm going to be bleeding all over the place. I just hope to God that by next week that this period like closes its cycle so that I could get the fuck to London and see my family. You know what I mean? That I'm just praying that that happens. Like I really need to go and see them. So yeah, so my mum's doing okay. She's getting better. She's on the mend. She's on the mend. But she's always on the mend in hospital. The real challenge is making sure she is better taken care of when she gets out of it. And that's always the challenge. So she's doing okay. She's doing okay. She's not dying. I was just pissed off because I didn't realize, I knew my mum had been through a lot, but I didn't realize how bad it was. Do you know what I mean? And I know what people are saying. How can you not realize? How can you not realize? Well, my mum isn't exactly the most talkative person. And, you know, people don't always call and tell me when she's been in hospital or when she suffered a stroke or what have you. So yeah, it's bad, man, but it wasn't a stroke this time, thank God. So it wasn't a stroke this time. So she's doing okay. You know, yeah, so touch wood. Touch wood. She's doing okay. Yeah. So, you know, it's okay. So I'm doing okay. The reason why I came on live and kind of touched base with you all is because after somebody's been through suicidal ideation, it's kind of important to keep track of the person to see what their progress is like. So that's why I've been making frequent videos. It's not because I need to rant or what have you. It's just that I know there are people worried about me, and I know that there are people who don't want me to harm myself, don't want me to harm anybody else. It's okay. I'm not going to. We're not having that. Okay? We're not having that. Again, the whole reason why I felt like shit is because that just ain't in me, bro. Maybe I'll punch somebody out, but even then that takes a lot. You know, even then that takes a lot, you know. I was going to come online and talk about something else, but it's only when you start talking that you realize how unimportant certain shit is. I don't have the time to be going over the same shit. I don't have time for it. So I'm going to go. I'm going to, I think I might catch a nap or something because I didn't sleep very well. That's because I was on the internet all night. That has nothing to do with anything else. This time it's on me. If I haven't been sleeping well, this time it's on me. It's not on anybody else. So yeah. So anyway, I gotta go. I might have a nap. I might do some cleaning. I don't know. It depends how I feel. But usually when I'm going through my period stuff, I don't do too much because you know, because I'm bleeding a lot. I bleed quite heavily. I try to rest as much as I can. So it depends on what I'm doing. The rest remains to be seen. So I love you guys very much. Peace and blessings. Bye bye.